Welcome to Everything Distributed. Today, I'm going to introduce a very interesting field called network science. What's network? And actually, networks everywhere. So, for example, almost everyone is using some type of social network right now. And then this is a visualization of a social network. And then how are you going to watch this video? You connect to internet, and then we need to have some kind of communication network. You need to have cable, they need to have your switch connect together so that you can receive data, you can communicate with other. That's communication network. And then we have transportation network. You need this to move around. And when we are talking, when we are thinking, eating, everything is controlled by your brain. And then the brain is a network. And then if you use money, you use bank, you pay someone, it's a financial network. That's kind of the foundation for our society. And there are tons of more network in biology, protein, metabolic. In business, you have organization, company. In politics, you have political network. If you watch a movie, there's Hollywood network. Then if you know someone, if you love someone, you hate someone, love-hate relation network. If you are using electricity, you have electricity network, tons of them. And then the goal for network science is to study the behavior, the structure of this network. And I encourage you to watch this very short video. It's a TED education channel. It gives you a very good overview on what network theory is. And once you watch it, here is kind of my understanding. It's a slightly different from the traditional way of interpreting network science, but like I think that I try to do it in a more broader way, combine both the science and engineering perspective. So what's a network? The way you should understand it is that you have entity, for example, people. Then you also need to reflect the connection, and then the connection is an important part. I mean, for example, that our relationship or the interaction between people, then the knowledge, whether you know someone or not, then that gives you a network. And to visualize it is very simple to draw. What's entity? Basically, you have tons of dots. Then what's connection? It's that whether this person is connected to the other person or not. Or that if this is animal, maybe that two animal have some relationship, or that if these two household they are connected, if like there's some phone line or cable connect between them, all those things. So that in that visualization or high level idea, you only need to know two things. One is entity, the dot here, and then the other is connection, the line between the two dots. Okay. So what's special about that, and then why like we are seeing so many kind of network? And then there are a few reasons. The first is that people are social animal. It's our nature to interact with others. And then because we are social animals, so the way we build our society is that it's highly connected. So the example like communication, and then you have social, financial, news, media, everything is connected. So to understand our society, to understand people behavior, or even to understand the nature, you have to consider the effect of the network. And some of the big questions in this area is that how do I even understand the network? Because sometimes the networks are kind of implicit. You cannot see it, you cannot sense it, you cannot watch it. You need to have a way to kind of visualize it to understand it. And then the next one is that you have some data, but like how do you model the network? Sometimes if it's more complicated, if it's too complicated, it's useless. You need to have an abstraction that we can analyze it. And once we can model it, then what are some of the characteristics that we are interested in, and how do we understand the behavior, how do we use network to explain some phenomena that we observe. Then sometimes we have interconnected network. Then those network may interacting with each other, or this network may change the behavior for each individual, like each dot, each entity here. Then suppose you have network, then maybe you can achieve something. So for example, if I want to stop the spread for fake news, yeah, right? You have social network, you have media network, then you need to understand the structure of network to do achieve this kind of thing. And then the final one is more on the kind of engineering side. Is that now I don't view this network as a static thing. Maybe I can control the network, I can manipulate it, I can build another network, so on and so forth. So these are all very interesting questions. And then to understand this, you will need to study network science. And some of the simple, more specific question is that this is my own personal kind of a categorization. Is that if you kind of treat network as already given, so that you are kind of outsider of the network, is that you care about the structure, you care about the implication, you care about like how the network is evolving, and then the process is that how does each entity interact with each other and how does that change the behavior, and then dynamic is also similar thing. Will the characteristic of a network or like certain phenomena change over time because of the property of the network? And then the second one is a kind of insider, is that you kind of live inside the network, and then maybe you want to construct something, you want to make the network more connected, you want to make sure that you maintain the network in a certain way so that some properties preserved, or that you want to use the network so that, you can achieve something more effectively. For example, that you can stop the fake news, or you can stop the spread, the virus spread, that kind of thing. So yeah, as the example is that the network, what's network? Like people are interacting with each other. This is kind of a physical interaction network. Then the virus is kind of like, suppose that this is the source of the virus. And because this person might interact with each person, so at the next time step, this person is already kind of affected. Then if this person is affected with a virus, it's highly likely everyone else will also have the virus. So like once you understand the structure of the network, you will say that no, 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 okay. Once I identify the resource, I should kind of quarantine this person. I should isolate it so that this person will not actually get it. Then everybody is safe. Okay. So that's just one example of the research topic in network science. Okay. Then to understand this or to get into this field, you need to understand graph theory because lots of terminology, lots of the abstraction are based on graph. So what exactly is graph? Most likely you will learn that in your CS basic courses or in your algorithms. And some of the terminology that you want to know is that we have nodes, just a circle here, and then you have edge, the line here, and then you have degree, number of neighbors, you have path, how do I go from one side to the other side, the length of the path, and then the distance, how is it different from the path length, and then when we talk about graph, whether they are connected, and then what is a connected component, all this terminology, you need to understand those in order to get into more or deeper analysis in the network science. And then if I have time in the future, I will talk about this in more detail. Okay, the takeaway is that network is everywhere, and then network science is actually very cool field to study. And personally, I think it's if it's not already hot, it's an emerging field to pay attention to. Okay, that's all. Thank you.